Hello, Julie Chance with Action Strategies by Design. And in this video, in our series for Everything DiSC facilitators and participants, we're going to be exploring emotional intelligence, or EQ, through the lens of Everything DiSC. And so as we get started, let's take a look and think about what emotional intelligence is, or what are the components of emotional intelligence. And in fact, this is the model that Daniel Goleman, the professor and psychologist who really brought the concept of emotional intelligence into the mainstream business world, developed. And it starts with self-awareness. It starts with really understanding ourselves, understanding our triggers, understanding our go-to patterns of behavior, our natural approach to things, our own strengths, and then beginning to shine light on those blind spots. And then the second component is self-management. And self-management is really about not only being aware of those triggers, being aware of those go-to behaviors, but in the moment being able to manage the approach and the behaviors that we use in order to be more effective and to have more effective working relationships, really relationships of all kinds. The third component is about social awareness, and social awareness is about understanding others. It's about understanding the motivators, the needs, the perspectives, the strengths, the weaknesses of others, and being able to then, the fourth component is relationship management, which is being able to then really adapt our approach to be able to work more effectively with others and to meet those needs of others. And when you think about the DiSC model, that DiSC model is really all about self-awareness, right? At its core, it's about first self-awareness, understanding ourselves, then it's about understanding others. It's about being able to adapt our approach to be more effective in our relationships and in working situations. It's about, so it really, from my perspective, it's at its foundation, DiSC is a model for helping to enhance emotional intelligence. And DiSC is about stretching outside our comfort zone, right? It's about being able to adapt and stretch to work with individuals more effectively, work in situations more effectively, using behaviors or styles, characteristics of styles that are different from our own natural styles. It's about adapting out of our comfort zone. And the reality is sometimes our comfort zones just aren't all that comfortable. It becomes a habitual way of behaving, even though it doesn't get us the results that we want. And that's where Everything DiSC Agile EQ comes in. Everything DiSC Agile EQ is one of the applications in the Everything DiSC suite of products, and it is also one of the applications on the Catalyst platform. And Everything DiSC Agile EQ looks at 8 mindsets, and mindsets are, I would describe them a ways of approaching situations, or the behaviors or actions that we tend to take in a given situation. And the program says that each of us have 3 natural mindsets, or 3 mindsets that come most easily for us. And those are the 3 mindsets closest to the style. So somebody with the C style, for example, their 3 natural mindsets based on this program would be resolute, objective, and composed. Whereas somebody with the DI style, or the ID style, would have self-assured, dynamic, and outgoing as their 3 natural styles. And the idea is that we need to recognize situations where our natural style, our strengths don't work so well, and then be able to adapt into and stretch and utilize those other mindsets. So for example, somebody with the resolute mindset who tends to stand their ground, they speak up about problems, and they're willing to push through resistance. There are times when that works awesome, when that absolutely is the mindset that's needed, the approach that's needed, and it works great. There's other times, though, where a more empathizing mindset might be more effective. It might get better results. And empathizing is about reaching out with compassion. It's about seeking to understand others' needs, others' perspectives, and being supportive. So let's dig a little bit deeper into this and look at some examples of stretching outside your comfort zone. So somebody with the D style, for example, tends to be self-assured. That's a natural style for them. There's times, though, when that self-assured mindset might not work so well, right? It might not get the results that we're after. In that case, the person with the D style might need to stretch over into that receptive mindset. And the receptive mindset is really about listening. It's about taking the time to understand the group's needs or another person's needs first. It's about being open to other people's ideas and perspectives, and sometimes being willing to compromise, right? And or at least to consider and incorporate the needs, the ideas of others. If somebody with the IS or the SI style that has that empathizing mindset, natural mindset, they might need to stretch over into objective. They might need to really be intentional about separating facts from emotion and maybe putting that emotion on the back burner to make decisions a little bit more logically. Somebody with the receptive style, the S style, who tends to have a receptive mindset, might need to reach and stretch over into that resolute mindset, where they stand their ground a little bit more, where they speak up about their ideas, they share their ideas, they stand a little bit more firmly on their opinions. And there's times when that's needed as opposed to being receptive. And then somebody with the CS or the SC style might need to stretch a little bit into that empathizing mindset. They may need to stretch outside that composed mindset that comes more naturally and be a little bit more empathizing, to be a little bit more compassionate and supporting of others. They might need to seek to understand others' needs, and I would say to also really understand others' feelings and put that logic on the back burner. So that's an example of how people with 4 of the natural mindsets might need to stretch into another mindset. And the idea is that typically the 3 mindsets closest to our style come easiest to us. They come most natural to us. Those are our strengths. And in some situations, as I said earlier, those mindsets work awesome. Other times, though, they really tend to get in the way of our effectiveness, to hamper or hinder us in terms of getting the results we're trying to get. And that, in those instances, we need to begin to be more intentional, to be more agile, more adept at adapting to one of those other 5 mindsets that are outside our comfort zone, or typically outside our comfort zone. Now, just because a mindset's outside our comfort zone, in the Agile EQ program, we have this little thing called an effort meter. And just because a mindset is outside our natural comfort zone does not mean that our effort meter is going to be over in the red like this one is. It could be in the green, it could be in the yellow, it might be in the pink. And that really is often dependent on how much self-awareness somebody has, how much time somebody has actually spent, how much intentionality they have put into developing their EQ and learning how to adapt or to stretch outside the comfort zone, and how much they've actually made these other mindsets that are outside their natural style, these other mindsets, a habit. So that's a quick overview of using the everything DiSC model to enhance EQ or emotional intelligence. I would welcome the opportunity to talk with you more and dive into this topic a little bit more.